again, it's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So today I am at home doing a little seedling maintenance. I am thinning and transplanting my Snapdragon seedlings, which clearly you can see they are definitely ready to do so. And then I am also looking at my stock seedlings and thinning those out to only the double ones. And I'll go through how you can tell if they're going to be a double or a single, but I only want to grow the plants that I know are going to be double blooms. So first I'm going to do the Snapdragons. So I'm going to set my stock aside. Now I have various kinds of Snapdragons planted in this 72 cell tray. So what I'm going to be doing is going through each cell, and I'm going to be either clipping the weak plants out, or I'm going to be transplanting some out to different cells. So like for example, these particular kinds, I did not have plants germinate in these cells. So some of the cells that have multiple plants, I'm going to be transplanting those extra plants into these cells so that I have a full tray of Snapdragon seedlings. So I'm going to grab my scissors and go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is looking at these cells, and ones that have multiple plants, I'm going to be taking some out and transplanting them into cells that don't have any plants in them. So for example, these two rows here are the Potomac Early Sunrise mix, and there are 3 cells that did not even have any seeds germinate. And I'll put some close-ups on the screen as I go through this, but you can see this first cell has about 4 or 5 plants in it, 3 of which are really strong seedlings. So I'm going to probably clip the 2 weak seedlings out, and then the 3 strong seedlings, I'm going to leave 1 in that tray and move the other 2 into the empty cell trays. So to get rid of the weak seedlings, I'm not going to dig those out. I'm basically just going to cut them off at the top of the soil. By doing that, they are not going to grow any further, and so those are eliminated. And actually, this cell had 6 plants in it, so I'm going to clip 3 of them. Now I have 3 nice seedlings left, so I'm going to take my butter knife. I'm going to get rid of this tag while I do so, and I'll do another cell tray showing the close-up of this so you guys can see. But basically, I'm just going to use my butter knife and get down in here to loosen the soil. Seedlings are really tough, and so this isn't going to hurt them at all. So here you can see I have lifted this whole seedling out of the soil. I'm going to make a little hole in one of the empty cells. Just plop him right down in the hole, and then push the soil in around him. And that's it. So now that empty cell now has a nice healthy plant. So then I'm going to take another plant out of this cell. These have some pretty good roots on them already. Make a nice hole, stick the seedling down in, push the soil around him, and he's good to go. So I'm going to move the camera closer, and I'm going to do another one close up so you can see exactly the process for this. Okay, so here are a couple rows of the Potomac Royal, and you can see that each one of these cells has multiple plants in them. And actually, I don't have any empty cells of this particular variety, so there's nothing that I have to transplant. So I'm just simply gonna go through and get each cell down to 1 plant. So for example, this cell has 2 plants. There's 1 here and 1 here. This is the stronger plant, so I'm just gonna come in and clip that one out. This cell also has 2 plants. They both look pretty good. This one might be a little healthier, so I'm gonna get rid of this one. This cell has 2 plants. I'll get rid of that one. This cell has 4 plants. So I'm gonna leave the tallest one in the middle, and I'm just gonna continue this process until I end up with 1 plant per cell. Sometimes it can be hard to get rid of plants, but by doing this, you're actually helping them so they can grow better. So now here is the last empty cell of that early sunrise mix that I want to fill. And down the line, these two cells still have multiple plants in. Now this one, the second plant is really little, so I'm going to get rid of it. But this one has 3 nice plants in it. So I'm going to get rid of one. I'm going to go ahead and create a hole in this cell. I'm going to bring these up to separate them. And they're planted pretty close. So I'm just going to have to pull these apart. All right, there's the roots on that one. So then I'm just going to stick him down in this hole and fill the soil in around it and put this one back. Okay, so now my early sunrise mix has all the cells full of plants. Okay, so I'm gonna go through and do this whole tray and the other 2 trays that I have. Then I'll show you what it looks like and then move on to my stock. Okay, so I'm done thinning and transplanting on this tray. Here are all of the little snapdragon plants that I cut out. And then here you can see I have a nice full tray, 1 plant per cell. I do have 1 empty tray just because I didn't think there was a good one to transplant. But now that these are all thinned out, they're actually going to be able to grow better, and I'm probably going to see a nice big growth spurt in them. In a few weeks, I'm also going to be going through and pinching all of my snapdragons, which I will do a video on that. But that is going to help them branch out so I get a lot more stems per plant. And you'll also notice after you do that, that not only will your snapdragon seedlings start branching where they're pinched, but they're gonna start branching and shooting up new shoots from the base of the plant too, which it's always really fun to watch when they start doing that. So I'm just gonna continue watering these and fertilizing them as I go. And like I said, in a few weeks, I'll be pinching them. Okay, so the next thing that I need to do today is thin out my stock seedlings. Now this tray I sowed probably about 3 weeks ago. This is all phlox, and so I'm gonna leave this be for now. But these 4 rows are all stock. And I want to thin these so I grow only the plants that flower double for stock, not the singles. And the way that you tell that is, and I again will put pictures up on the screen, but once your stock seedlings start developing their leaves, if it looks like a normal seedling with normal leaves, it's probably going to be a double. But if you can see some deformity in the leaves, or the 2 leaves that are coming off from the sides are fused in any way, that is going to be a single stock. And so I'm just simply going to go through, and any of the seedlings that I see that have a deformity, like this one, the leaves, it has 2 leaves, but they're all fused. I'm gonna get rid of this because I know that is probably gonna be a single bloom, and I just wanna grow in my garden the ones that are double blooms. And so I'm gonna go through just like I did with the snapdragon seedlings and cut out the ones that I don't want. Now, I'm probably not gonna be transplanting any of these because usually about 50% of the seedlings that you get from stock are ones with deformities. Like this cell, both of the seedlings that were in there had deformities. Actually, I have a cell where both of the seedlings look good, so I probably am gonna end up transplanting those. But I'm gonna go through and get this process done, and then I'll show you what I end up with. All right, so I am done thinning out my stock seedlings. I'll put a close-up on the screen, but I only ended up with 2 cells that did not have plants in. So I should have a really nice supply of stock this spring. Stock is something I have not grown before, but I wanted to try last year. I just didn't get it planted, so I'm really excited to try it this spring. And flax is also something that I have not grown before. So both of these varieties I'll be excited to plug in once it warms up outside. So anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. I know it wasn't anything super exciting, but just something that needed to be done, so I thought I would share with you guys the process. And I think next week I will be doing, of course, more seed starting coming up, but then I'm also probably gonna do a seedling update to show you guys all of the seedlings that I have growing and how they all look right now. Because in probably about a month and a half, I'm gonna start planting some of them outside depending on the weather. So that'll be really exciting. But anyway, stay tuned for a lot more seed starting and a lot more once the weather changes and I start planting things outside. And hopefully next month I also see some of my tulips coming out of the ground. That I am really excited for. So stay tuned. We'll see you soon.